Hello, everybody, and welcome to another action-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, TJ and Dave, and today we're going to be talking about Double or Nothing, Raw, and we got a little bit of wrestling news at the end, like we have been doing. So, going forward on that, check out all our social medias, like we always say. It's at OverMark ENT. It's, all the four big ones that everybody uses. You're listening to this on one of them right now, so chances are you probably got an idea what we're talking about. And right from that, we're going to jump right into AEW Double or Nothing here. So they had an attendance of 8179 and a setup of 8697. Pretty good, not bad. I kind of saw some weird crowd shots. It looked like there were sections where there weren't like a lot of people, basically the hard cam side, but I don't know, I saw other pictures that showed that it wasn't too bad, so who knows if people were trying to make it look bad. But overall, it's pretty impressive, and I'm sure they made a lot of money, and the crowd seemed really into it. It's kind of weird because at first, the pay-per-view I feel like was worse than I initially expected, and that's not to say that it was like by any means like a crazy pay-per-view by any means. I feel like by AEW standards, this one was pretty average, but it had its moments, and I feel like they just did the same mistake that they usually do with a lot of them and overbook them and put matches that you don't necessarily need to see and just make it really long.
Really long.
Yeah.
God.
It just, it doesn't need to be so long, just, you could probably cut like 3 of the matches, and I feel like the overall pacing in the show would have been better. But, what do I know?
I think in the notes I made notes about this match could be cut on some of them.
Okay. But we'll move right on from that. If you want to talk about this next thing we got going on here with the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Cup Final.
Oh boy. Well, this is an okay. I can't talk today. This is an okay match. We got Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné, and the winner is going to go on to earn a world title match at All In Texas, in addition to being the Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament champion. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The match starts slow with the crowd split in dueling chants. Both women are pretty popular with this group of wrestling fans. Monet takes Hayter into the corner early, mocking her after the break. Jamie gains momentum with strikes and a boot, earning a 2 count. Monet strings together quick near falls with a prawn hold and a roll up. Hayter and Monet battle for control in a sequence of leg submissions. Hayter locks in a single leg crab, but Mercedes gets to the ropes. We get some outside action. Monet hits Meteora to knock Hayter from the apron to the floor. Mercedes throws Jamie into the barricade, taking control. We're going to get some submission wrestling exchanges. Back in the ring, Monet applies an arm and leg submission. Hayter powers out with a near fall and escapes a chinlock. Sorry about that. Mercedes lands a backstabber into a straitjacket hold. And we're going to get some high impact action. Jamie responds with corner offense and a double knee strike. Monet lands 3 amigos to booze, but is caught on the top rope. Hayter hits a delayed suplex. Monet blocks a follow-up suplex with a backstabber. We're getting close to the home stretch here, but not quite. Hayter hits a Haterade. Both women are down. Outside, Jamie hits the ring step lariat despite slipping slightly. Back in, a flying boot by Hayter gets a near fall. Monet lands more backstabbers into the statement maker. Hayter escapes and gets 2 near falls off roll-ups. Monet blocks a power bomb. Hayter escapes Monet moneymaker attempt. And we're getting near the end here. Hayter locks in a rear naked choke. Monet escapes with a near fall. Another statement maker by Monet nearly ends it, but Hayter survives. Jamie lands a Haterade, but Monet kicks out. Monet tries for a tombstone, but Hayter hits it instead, near fall. Hayter sets up another Haterade, but Monet hits a DDT into a cradle, and that's it. Mercedes wins with the cradle DDT into a cradle for the pin. She's your 2025 On Heart Women Cup champion, and she's going to face Toni Storm for the title at All In Texas. Overall, I thought it was a decent match. It was a mouthful to get through there, and it was the beginning of a very long pay-per-view. What did you think of this match, TJ?
I mean, the in-ring action is good. Both girls are good, and when Monet's in there with another chick that can work, the results are usually pretty decent. But I don't know. I'm just kind of confused by this match and how it's set up and her character. And it's like, isn't she supposed to be a heel? Why isn't she wrestling like one? You know, like she's never cheating. I feel like she might have done a little bit of that early on, but her persona is like an egotistical heel, and it's like normally if she was cheating, I feel like it would get her character over more and actually get real heat into her matches, because like first off, you would eventually want to see that not succeed, but the way that she acts, she would be so egotistical to ignore the cheating part. It's like there's just a missing link in her character here, and I don't know, they're doing themselves a disservice by having her wrestle like that. It's John Moxley does a lot of that too. It's like just a heel that a lot of times he in these hardcore matches, but when he's not, he's like winning clean, and just going back to her, it just doesn't really make any sense. You know, the announcers were putting her over as like how resilient she was, and like just hyping her up and all that shit, and it's just strange to me. It's you don't hype up the heel, you know, like, but there was no like cheating or anything to make them not do that. It's none of it really makes any sense, and like sure the match is good, but in the end that's isn't really what you want to go for. Like it, there's just so much more that they could be doing to make you like sink your teeth into this, and I don't know. It's just a shame that seems to never really happen. And how many heels on AEW television don't cheat and they're just tough guy heels?
All of them.
Yeah, it's strange. You know, I just always use the example. What's the difference between Jungle Boy's heel character and John Moxley's? Like, no.
Oh no.
They're the same guy.
Jungle Boy doesn't bleed in the first 30 seconds.
No, I just mean what they're doing. They're walking in there. They're both wearing leather jackets. They're both acting tough. They're not cheating to win the matches. You know, and I don't know where the fuck he's gone, but I don't know. That's my little rant on that match and some of the things I saw that were wrong with it, and maybe could have made it better if that was happening. And you know, it's especially effective when you have somebody cheat when she's had that belt as long as she has. Like, could you imagine if she's like 6 months in just cheating to win almost every match or every big match?
Right.
It would build a lot of fucking heat, but instead they're not really interested in doing that, right?
Doesn't seem like it.
All right, well, something else that may or may not be interesting to some people here. I'll go ahead and jump us into this if you don't have anything else to add.
Oh, no, I'm good, please.
All right, so we got FTR versus Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. This is probably one that we were talking about earlier that they could have got out of here. This is another one that was kind of tossed up with not a lot of build. Now, Nigel McGuinness talking shit with FTR and stuff like that was the link that made this semi-enjoyable in what they actually did a long-term build with it, I feel like. Or not long-term, but longer than just bringing Daniel Garcia in it, you know. But, so the match starts, and it's Garcia versus Wheeler here. It's annoying because, you know, you always think it's Yuta or something like that. But Wheeler tries mind games in the fake hug. Garcia answers with a shoulder tackle. Dax and Nigel square off. The crowd pops for Nigel's tag. They brawl with Dax landing heavy chops. Nigel answers with uppercuts and a brief double team from him and Garcia. FTR regrouped after that with a double sharpshooter attempt that forces FTR outside. That sounds confusing.
Yep.
They regroup and take control. Nigel's hands headstand.
Well, no, I get it. They regrouped. They tried the.
Oh, I got you.
You know,
they regrouped after they tried it. Okay.
They tried to put them in them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just basic thinking there. But Nigel's headstand
the
counters
strange.
leads to offense, but is cut off when Wheeler sends him into the announce desk. FTR isolates Nigel. Wheeler mocks Shivani while keeping Nigel grounded. Nigel finally counters with a lariat. We get a hot tag after that, and Daniel Garcia comes in mild, attacking both FTR and lands a deadlift back suplex on Dax. We get some big spots after that. with the Dragon Tamer by Garcia broken up by Wheeler. Assisted Tower of London from Garcia and Nigel on Dax. We get a near fall. FTR accidentally clothesline each other. We get a little bit of outside chaos with double submissions on FTR. Nigel gets revenge on Wheeler near commentary, yelling, "This is for Tony." He actually gave Tony a high five during the match. But Garcia hits a suplex, sets up another one, but gets intercepted. FTR gain control with a shatter machine to Nigel on the floor. In the ring, Garcia kicks out of a pile driver and even a spike pile driver. In the final moments, Garcia passes out in a sharpshooter as Wheeler and Stokely mock him. Garcia passes out and FTR win via submission. It kind of stinks, but if they're just trying to get heat on FTR and have them have a run with the belts as heels, it's the right way to go, I guess. So maybe they could get something out of that a little bit with have them saying that they choked out beat Nigel McGuinness and choked out Garcia. But I don't really need to be seeing Dana Garcia on any pay-per-view at this point. There's a certain point to when you just need to move on. And what'd you think about this match?
Well, I like FTR. I like Nigel McGuinness on commentary. He was not a bad wrestler when he wrestled, but I didn't need to see this. No offense to everybody that liked it. It was a good match. We talked about these things being too long now. So if a match had to go, it would have been this one. There's a couple other ones, but yeah, this would have been one of the ones. To get the axe, you have one of the best tag teams in your company wrestling a goof and a commentator. Yeah.
The commentator is barely seen wrestling on the show, and he's more legit than the goof, out of the four of them. Isn't that really weird? In every way, shape, or form. Just not into Dana Garcia, man. And I know that there are people that are, and that's perfectly fine. We don't have to agree. This is just mine and Dave's opinion here.
Yep. Sorry, Garcia fans. Sorry, Daniel Garcia. You might not be fans of ours either, and that's okay. You're probably still a good dude, and that's all right. And we're gonna move on now.
Yeah,
we got a stretcher match with Mark Briscoe. I can't say that. Mark Brisket. I almost called him. Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. We got a opening brawl. Fight spills up the ramp near the ambulance early. Ricochet retreats back into the ring. Ricochet attempts a shooting star press onto Briscoe on the stretcher. Briscoe dodges. Ricochet crashes hard. That was pretty rough looking landing. It probably did not feel great. I would be surprised if it knocked the wind out of him for a second. Briscoe hits a Cactus Jack style elbow from the apron. They shot it well. It looked cool. Pays homage to Sabu and hardcore legends with weapons and attitude. Ricochet blocks a table attempt. Briscoe hits him with a chair and a cleaning bucket after spraying him with cleaner on the top of his head and shining up his head. The commentary had jokes about them shining up his bald head and it blinding him and things of that nature. I can't remember verbatim what they were saying, but they had their little one-liners. And then he goes for a Sabu chair dive, and Ricochet counters with a chair to the face, which looked pretty nasty. There was a lot of hard-hitting action in this. Ricochet turns the tide with spray to Briscoe's face and busts him open on the gurney. Ricochet nearly closes the ambulance door, but a crutch blocks it. Briscoe fires back with a face full of extinguisher. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, the Jay Driller teased.
Yeah,
that's his move. I'm like, what is that? Did I put the wrong thing there? Briscoe instead hits a froggy bow off the top rope through the table. During the final moments of the match, we get Ricochet jabs Mark in the face with scissors, but gets disarmed. Ricochet pulls another pair of scissors from the ambulance and hits a spirit gun. Briscoe laid on the stretcher and wheeled into the ambulance. Ricochet closes the door. Boom. He wins the stretcher match. The sirens blare for a really long fucking time during the celebration of the match or whatever. And it was going for a long fucking time. The match itself was pretty cool. There was a lot of good spots in this stuff. You definitely should watch it if you haven't. and there was some brutal stuff, and these guys definitely took some hard shots. The chair to the head, the landing on the stretcher. What did you think of this match?
Well, sorry, I was coughing, but so I enjoy the match. I like both these guys a lot.
Yeah.
They definitely don't use Briscoe to the level that they should be, and Ricochet's definitely doing way better work than he has at any other point in his career that I've seen. But I don't really have too much to say. They definitely beat the shit out of each other. Mark Briscoe bled like crazy. It was cool seeing the stretcher match. We used to see them a lot more back in the day with some pretty high-profile guys. But overall, I like the gimmick, and they both did it well, and there were some pretty cool spots in the match, and it would be nice just to see Mark Briscoe actually get some wins and maybe do something at some point in the company. But both guys can't win, so it's overall, can't complain about that too long. But my main thing again is kind of pull apart a little bit how this match was set up, and there was a match, I believe this is how it started, with Zach Gowen, and he stole his leg, and then they had the match, and then he beat him. I'm pretty sure Zach Gowen didn't win, right? Ricochet won.
Ricochet won.
And then after that, he was beat up on him after the match, and then Mark Briscoe came out and did the save, and they had a couple more interactions after that. But I feel like it was like a 2-week build to a match, and it's like the first match you have is a stretcher match. You can't like pull this thing. Like, where do we go now? Just a one-on-one singles match? You know what I'm saying? It's like, where do we go from here? Is that it?
Yeah, I guess a cage match where they throw each other off the top or something crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, just not trying to knock. Both guys put in a really good effort and everything. Just
it's right. It's more like a blow-off match for a feud than a first match.
Yeah, that lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. But overall, good match, and I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. We can go ahead and move on to the next one here. It's the AEW World Tag Team Championship match with the Hurt Syndicate versus the Sons of Texas. So in the opening here, by the way, the crowd's hot for both teams. Everybody really liked both guys, but or both teams. Sorry, not guys. But
yeah.
Dustin versus Lashley starts things off. Dustin avoids a hurt lock, but is overpowered and trapped in the corner. Lashley tags in Benjamin, who lands a German suplex and controls the pace despite Dustin's resistance. Dustin gets a knee lift in and tags Guevara. Momentum swings. Sammy hits a drop kick, but gets suplexed twice by Benjamin. Lashley tags in, misses a spear, but hits a high angle slam, which sends Guevara outside. MVP sneaks in cheap shots while the rest distract until Dustin chases him off. That was pretty good. But Guevara fights back. Sammy hits a cutter, allowing Dustin to tag in. Dustin fires up with a snap powerbomb on Shelton and sends Lashley to the outside. A code red by Rhodes gets a 2 count. Chaos breaks out. Dustin hits an unnatural kick in the corner. Still only a 2. We got a submission and high impact combos here with Benjamin locking in an ankle lock on Rhodes. Broken up by Sammy with a running kick. Crossroads from Dustin. Shooting star press by Sammy. Keeps Lashley down. Dustin covers Shelton. We get a near fall. Then MJF starts interfering in the match. Benjamin intercepts Dustin up top with a near fall. MJF offers his diamond ring to Benjamin, saying, "This is taking too long." Lashley tells MJF to back off, and then turns the spears Dustin. He turns and spears Dustin through the barricade. It was pretty. His spears are always pretty good. He's on that list that we made.
He hits it hard.
Yeah,
he does.
Lashley and MJF hug, revealing an alliance, which obviously have, but now it's like it seems like they're kind of like fully drifting into the heel part here, and they're going to be more dicks to the fans and doing heel like tactics. Sammy goes for a dive but gets intercepted by Benjamin. Running knee and a thrust kick drops Guevara for the pin. This is a decent match. Everybody, more of the same shit that you're probably going to hear all night, but everybody was really trying and the crowd was into it. But on comparing it to the rest of the matches in the night, this was probably one of the more like slower paced matches. But that's not to say that it was slow paced by any means. Just everybody runs 100 miles a minute.
Methodical.
Yeah.
It was relied a bit more on storytelling and selling and things of that nature, as opposed to move to move
Yeah, in that
in
sense, it
a
was a good
rapid
match.
pace.
But, you could tell it was just a little bit different than everything else that you saw on the show.
Yeah.
What you think?
It was a good enough match. I can't believe that Dustin's still out there doing it. Yeah, good for him. That's it's about all I got for that match. Yeah, good match. Maybe one of those ones that I tossed around the idea of possibly not having on the card, or maybe having on the undercard and getting rid of one of the undercard matches.
Well, this next one's one of those. Even though I guarantee
Well,
you,
yeah,
like, if you said that, people would argue with you up and down.
I mean, this was a I should cut it match. Okada's a great wrestler and everything. He shouldn't be wrestling this guy. This, if he's gonna, maybe wrestle him on like Collision or something. But anyway, take us into this. Or did you just do the last one? I
This is
can't even
you.
remember now. Oh no, fuck. Well, we got Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey, and man, like I was saying, I would have cut this match just to get the length of the pay-per-view down. No offense to their work rate or anything like that. We'll find out about how good the match is as we go. Respectful lockup at the beginning. Okada controls early, forcing Bailey to the ropes. Bailey fights back, sending Okada outside and landing a crane kick on the floor. Like on the Karate Kid. The springboard dive by Bailey connects. Action returns to the ring. We get a momentum shift. Bailey goes for a high-risk move, but eats a dragon screw from Okada. Okada follows with a DDT on the floor and a near fall back in the ring. Gets some boots to the head and a corner big boot to wear Bailey down. We get a comeback from Speedball. He dodges on the outside and lands a springboard moonsault. We get an in-ring flurry capped by a running shooting star press, and Okada kicks out. That was a pretty nice move. Okada counters in the corner with a knee to the neck, body slam, and some top rope elbow. We get some twists and turns. Okada mocks the crowd and gets caught in a near fall roll up. Bailey hits another flurry, going for a shooting star. Okada gets the knees up. A strike exchange ends with Bailey hitting repeated roundhouse kicks. Get some near fall drama. Bailey nearly wins with a double roundhouse combo, but Okada grabs the bottom rope at the last second. Bailey unleashes more kicks and holds the wrist to keep Okada up, but Okada lariats him down. Multiple reversals and close pinfalls follow. Bailey goes up top. Okada drop kicks him in midair. One final Rainmaker lands clean. And your winner via pinfall is Okada. This was a good enough match. Both of these guys put on a really solid match. Still would have cut it off of the card, or maybe they had two matches on the undercard. Maybe this and the tag team match are the ones that are on the undercard. I don't know, but yeah. What did you think of this?
This was actually kind of similar to the last match where Okada would kind of work slower, more methodical and everything, and lays his shit in. And it was a decent enough match, I guess, but this is another thing where it says like a match with like almost no build, but just, I don't know, not really too into Bailey. And it's not to say he's not bad or anything. It's just strange watching like some guy that's 6'2" wrestle against a guy that's like probably like 5'7" and weighs like 145 pounds.
I mean, we did get some of that in WCW.
Yeah, but I don't know. Those guys seem like stars. This just seems like some fucking goof. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to shit on him completely. He does actually have some redeeming aspects, and he is better than some of the people that they've had there in the past. It's just overall, it's hard to really. You notice a pattern. So like, there'll be a whole bunch of people on the show, and then it's like a revolving door. Like eventually he'll just hire new people, and then some people disappear, and you just get the new people for a while until he gets tired of them. So it's that's
you come in, you're instantly in a title program, you lose the title program, and then you're relegated on down to whatever.
Yeah, that kind of is my prediction for him, but let's hope not. And I don't know, he does have potential to I like him more than Daniel Garcia, we'll put it that way. But I'll go ahead and move us on here. And this was the AEW Women's World Championship match. This is another match here that had a 2-week build. You notice a theme here, right?
Yep.
Mina ended up beating Tony in a 4-way eliminator match for the belt, and so they ended up setting it up at the pay-per-view, and that was the match that happened here. But it wasn't too bad, I guess. With the opening sequence, Mina brings early aggression, taking Tony down. Chain wrestling exchanges that lead to quick near falls from both women. Mina locks in a leg lock, but Tony reaches the ropes. Mina slams Tony's leg against the post. Storm reverses and does the same. DDT on the floor by the champ leads to a 2 count back in the ring. Fisherman suplex and a backbreaker give Tony Storm control. Rolling elbow, running kick, leg whip from Mina. Tony uses Luther as a shield, but Mina sends him flying and stays on the attack. Mina hits a top rope crossbody. Luther takes the blow. Mina hits a leg whip and locks in a figure 4. Tony escapes. Then we get a double knockdown, and it leads to a standing 10 count. Both rise and trade strikes. Storm hits a back suplex and 2 German suplexes, but knee pain delays her hip attack. Then Mina hits a hurricane. Am I saying that right? And a glamorous driver. Tony kicks out. Tony hits a hip attack. Goes for a Storm Zero. Mina counters into another figure 4. Storm barely gets to the ropes, but she does break it up. We get a quick near fall exchanges of small packages. Storm Zero connects clean, and then Tony Storm retains with the Storm Zero, like we said, and she gets a pinfall afterwards. Post-match, Storm and Mina embrace with a kiss to crowd approval. Then a graphic confirms after that it's Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné at All In. I don't know. It was an okay match. Both put on a solid showing, I feel like, and I can't really shit on anything beyond the build being 2 weeks and just another match thrown together. I mean, fuck, if you want to see how rushed this whole build was and last second it was, just look at Collision Thursday before. There was almost no build for it.
Yep.
What'd you think?
Well, I like both of these women. It was a solid enough match. Nothing great. They keep having them do things like kiss for the crowd and everything. That feels like Vince McMahon's booking this a little bit, but yeah, good enough match. Like both the gals, and that's really all I got for that.
Yeah, well,
and
you get the pleasure of taking us into this.
Oh boy. The Anarchy in the Arena match. The Team Omega, Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and the Ops versus the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. And boy, this was a match, and it went on and on and on. A lot longer than you expect or hope.
No, it went right around what I expected.
But Swerve came out. He had some pretty cool Predator-inspired lasers and gear. Willow had a chained fist, which was all right. And Hobbs and Shibata came out. And Samoa Joe's missing at first. And Kenny Omega comes out with Captain America-style gear with a trash can lid shield. Kind of goofy. The Death Riders enter through the crowd. The Young Bucks follow with a goofy Founding Fathers
Everything's
intro.
comedy, huh?
It was really fucking stupid, and maybe this is a match that I would have cut, even though that's not realistic. But Joe ambushes Claudio backstage. Anarchy starts with a 4-way split screen. I kind of enjoyed them jump starting it like that. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. That song plays over the intercom as they're fighting, and Kenny Omega gets on the mic and calls for something heavier, and then they start playing Bodies by Drowning Pool. And man, they played Bodies by Drowning Pool a lot. I lost count.
I think it was 3 times.
It felt like more than that, but I don't know. Try to listen to that song 3 times in a row, and it might feel like more than that. But anyway,
it was kind of unfortunate, by the way. It's given the circumstances of the awards that they handed out earlier in the night, and the Bodies hit the floor song. I don't know. We're not going to linger on that, but I just, we talked about that a little bit earlier, man. That's not good. Oh,
Lord. Yeah. But anyway, Mox forks Hobb. Yeah, that does say fork. I just wanted to make sure that I'm reading that right. Omega balcony dives onto the pile below. Willow bottle smashes Marina. Shibata wraps a barbed wire on his leg for a brutal punt to
He
Yuta.
kicked the shit out of him.
He did. It looked pretty solid. There was some good hard shots in this match, we'll say. We get some ringside carnage. Swerve drops Nick with a chair, backbreaker. Don't know why I couldn't say that. Hobbs spinebusters Mox through a table. Willow uses a table on Marina near a production truck. Sounds like she's doing something with a boat. She's using a table on the Marina. Anyway, we get a spot specs explosion. Swerve hits a swerve stomp plus gritty. Claudio giant swings Swerve into a speaker. Looked like it probably hurt a little bit. And then that made I'm using air quotes, music cut off because somehow him hitting a random unconnected speaker by the stage affects the house music. But, suspend disbelief here. It's wrestling. Shafir chains Willow to the ring post by her ear. I didn't like this spot.
Me either. Looked fucking nasty.
I really didn't like it. I understand it, and it makes sense. But, man, Omega is powerbombed through a table by the Bucks. Shibata eats a TK driver onto the floor. We get the forklift moment. Swerve arrives on a forklift driven by Prince Nana, which was pretty cool. I didn't know he was forklift certified. Nana unlocks Willow, and Shafir is taken out. Bucks eat a coquina clutch from Joe, broken by Matt's 450. Nick uses a staple gun on Hobbs, who no-sells it. And I was thinking that there were no staples in these, and I was wrong. There are staples in these stapler.
Who'd you say it was?
Nick?
Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, no. Insanity builds. Shafir tries to staple Swerve's tongue. Willow saves him. Omega Snapdragon suplexes Shafir. It's about time somebody fucking dropped her. They keep having her attack these guys every week. And back in the Attitude Era, if you were attacking the dudes, you were eating whatever their finishing move was. Equal rights, equal lefts. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody should be beating up on women. But in a wrestling context, it was nice to see. And the Bucks super kick everyone, including Nana and the ref. Jesus Christ. Willow and Swerve hit a TK driver on Matt, which was pretty cool. The near fall was broken up by Yuta. We're getting into the closing moments of the match here. Not quite, though. Joe takes out Mox. Hook returns in an orange hoodie. It had Kenny on it. He had the hood up like Kenny. And he golf clubs Claudio, and then leaves. It was weird because Joe was kind of like waving him into the ring, like, get on in here, and then Hook took off.
Yeah, teasing something there.
I don't know if that's storytelling or if he's just not cleared to do anything past go out there and fake hit a guy with a golf club because whatever that injury was that he had sustained that was, legitimate that
Concussion.
We talked about. What was it, a concussion? He's out there
throwing
throwing
up
and shit.
Up, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they could make you throw up. But yeah, maybe he's not cleared to do anything. But then Gabe Kidd ambushes Joe and pile drives Kenny, hands Bucks thumbtacks. Yuta and Claudio shove thumbtacks into Omega's mouth. Ugh. He gets a swing drop kick combo that looked kind of nasty. Mox locks in a bulldog choke. Joe breaks it but gets overwhelmed. Mark Briscoe returns and saves Joe by trapping the Death Riders in the ambulance. That was pretty cool. It was, that was a good idea. The final moments of the match, Omega hits a V trigger and Swerve hits a house call on Matt. Nick eats a Swerve stomp with a thumbtack soled shoes. And TJ pointed out to me last night or the night before, that every one of these Anarchy in the Arena matches have some kind of thumbtack shoe shit from the Bucks.
Yeah, well, they
so
really
it's nice
like
to
shoes,
see that.
so they incorporate
It's nice
that
to see
into
them
it.
get it. Yeah. So they got to get thumbtack shoed instead of those assholes
They had
thumbtack
exploding
shoeing
ones,
somebody.
At some point.
Yeah. We forgot to. That wasn't even in the notes here. There was a fucking move by the side of the stage through the table. Oh, that when when Kenny did the one wing angel through the table and the shit exploded.
I mean,
underneath
they've had shoes that have exploded before. I think they
Yeah,
had spikes on them as well.
Yeah, I think that was a couple years back. I do recall that. But yeah, that was Anarchy in the arena, and my God, there was a lot of brutality in this match. It was mostly entertaining. It was what it was. It wasn't great. I don't know. What did you think of this, TJ?
The first half of the match, I didn't really like too much. It was okay when they had to split cameras for a second, but any time that they have everybody running all over the place and split up, it's hard to keep up on it, and they just can't ever shoot it good enough. But once they got everybody kind of close together and they started singling out the big high spots, I feel like it became way better, and I actually did enjoy this match, especially like the last 10 minutes or so. But the beginning was just a mess, and I really don't like the playing of the songs the whole time. I guess that means anarchy to them, and I'd say probably about the worst spot in it was the Young Bucks started super kicking everybody. But beyond that, I enjoyed the match, and I'm not going to shit on the beginning too much. Overall, it did what it was supposed to, and I guarantee a lot of people really enjoyed it.
Good, fair assessment.
So we're going to jump to another match here, which is strange because I guess you either use this for like a filler so people can go to the bathroom and get food between Anarchy and the main event. But this kind of sucked the air out of the room. And, it's a shame because Takeshita's pretty good. I like him. Kyle Fletcher's pretty decent. I like him too. I don't know too much about Josh Alexander. He's just kind of like the headgear guy to me. But Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly, I could do without at this point. I know he got hurt, but Adam Cole just he hasn't been the same since basically the only good thing he's done in AEW is work with MJF. Beyond that, there's not a lot to do. And that was a great angle. It was probably one of the best ones they've ever done. And it kind of got derailed because everybody they actually both got hurt. But anyways, we'll just... Oh, and he's suffering from the curse of that TNT title. They have no clue what to do with him with it, just like Daniel Garcia. But Cole vs. Takeshita starts off with a technical battle. Takeshita gains control with strikes in the corner. Josh Alexander tags in and lands heavy shots before Cole tags in on Strong. After that, we get a little momentum shift. Strong delivering a backbreaker before Alexander tags out to Fletcher. Paragon triple teams Fletcher after bringing him to their corner. Strong chops away, but a distraction allows Josh and Takeshita to double team Roddy. They start isolating here, and Takeshita and Alexander keep Strong grounded and cut him off from Paragon. Strong eventually breaks free with a clothesline and tags in Cole. We get some hot tag chaos after this, with Cole hitting a comeback and a neck breaker on Alexander. Fletcher stops a Panama Sunrise and the family triple teams Cole, ending with a Takeshita powerbomb and a near fall broken up by Paragon. We get a breakdown after this with all six men brawling. Takeshita heads to the outside. Cole looks for a boom but gets interrupted. O'Reilly tags in and lands a stiff kick on Fletcher and locks in a guillotine. And the finish is Fletcher locking in a guillotine into the brainbuster and gets a 1-2-3. Post-match, Paragon tries to recover, but Lance and RPG Vice storm the ring and attack. Chaos continues until the Hounds of Hell's music hits. Brody King and Tomohiro Ishii appear. Shock moment with Hiroshi Tanahashi joining them on stage. Tanahashi, Ishii, and Brody King clear the ring, standing tall as the Callis family regroups outside. Adam Cole's music plays as tensions rise. What the fuck? Why are they coming out? Are they trying to advertise all these guys as being in the run for trios now or something? I don't really give a fuck about Tanahashi. I definitely don't give a fuck about Ishii. Brody King I could do with or without. I really don't fucking care. Lance Archer's cool. RPG Vice, Trent's okay, I guess, but I don't know. Not much to be excited about over there. This match happened. It was a decent little match for what it was, but this is another match. Maybe this had a 1 week build. I don't really know. I know these guys do have a little bit of tension, but this overall, it's when you just have a lot of good matches, or this was probably the worst match of the night, by the way. But when you have a whole bunch of good matches and they're just kind of tossed together last second, I don't know. It just kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. And what do you think about that?
Well, Like we said at the beginning of this match, this is definitely one that we could have cut. Not particularly crazy about any of these guys. Hey, obviously, Don Callis family is, they're good enough, and they're pretty entertaining most of the time.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
talk highly of them.
Yeah, Adam Cole is honestly not bad too. Other than that, he needs to,
Be in a program.
yeah,
He's actually decent,
honestly,
but they just don't show it.
yeah. And the match was good enough. It's not to shit on the in-ring work. There's no reason to care about any of these guys. I don't know. I was disinterested. This was the match that I kind of took a break because the last match was so long. So I needed to stretch my legs and get a snack, and so I missed some of it. But yeah, I don't know.
What about this aftermatch shit here?
Oh shit, there was more.
No, you remember what I just said with the Hounds of Hell coming out and Ishii and Hiroshi Tanahashi coming out.
Oh, I thought that there was more beyond that. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
But I'm saying, like, what do you think about that? Like, what the fuck? What is that? Why? Who cares?
I don't think much of it. Exactly. Who gives a fuck? I don't understand.
Ishii's fucking... I don't get it, man.
Just send him back to Japan, man.
And then
that's all
I know Tanahashi was a big deal in Japan back in the day, but, like, he can barely fucking move. Like, he looks geriatric when he's out there. It hurts watching him. I don't know if you remember the last time he was on their fucking television. I think it was like a year ago. Forbidden Door's fucking getting close, but it gets worse every year. And I don't really care about air guitars and his fucking hair. And I'm not trying to diminish him for anybody else. I'm sure he's had a lot of great matches, and he's a legend in Japan, but it's AEW television here. Is that about it on that one?
Yes. Fuck.
Well, this is you right here.
Oh, well, we get to the main event here, and it's the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Final for the men. Will Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page. We get the opening exchanges, intense stare down. Crowd is hot for both of these guys. That's not an exaggeration. They were actually pretty excited. As excited as you could be for having watched this many hours of wrestling and still being there. The technical lockups happen early. Ospreay gains control, but Page slows some things down. Hangman grabs hair in the corner, and the crowd splits. Ospreay dodges a buckshot. Page avoids a hidden blade. The momentum swing. Ospreay hits a Hurricane Rana, a standing Sky Twister press for a near fall. Page responds with a fall-away slam into the barricade, then again into the corner for 2. Strike exchange leads to a Sasuke special from Ospreay. Mid-match sequences are the Blue Thunder Bomb by Ospreay for a near fall. Page intercepts a dive with a moonsault to the outside, followed by a Boston Crab in the ring, and Will breaks it with the ropes. It's a nice spot. Spanish Fly by Ospreay for 2. Shooting Star Press onto the ropes connects. Only a 2 count. We get some high-impact drama. An Os Cutter blocked. Page hits a Tombstone Pile Driver for a near fall. Ospreay counters Deadeye into the Styles Clash attempt. Page reverses with an Angel Wings for a 2 count. Page attempts a BME. Ospreay catches him with a Hidden Blade. Page rolls away. We're getting close to the end. Will hits a Os Cutter for a near fall. Hidden Blade connects. Page kicks out. Ospreay slams Page on a collapsed announce desk, but Hangman hits a Deadeye onto it moments later. Page and Ospreay remove their elbow pads. Dramatic standoff ends with a buckshot lariat. Ospreay kicks out. Final stretch of the match here. Hidden Blade, Storm Zero combo. Page kicks out at 2. Page blocks another Hidden Blade, counters V-Trigger into Big Pressure, a Swerve Tribute. Ospreay kicks out again. Final buckshot lariat from Page, connects clean. Page with the 1-2-3 via pinfall. He wins the 2025 Owen Hart Cup. The crowd's pretty hyped for that. It's fucking Hangman, whatever. Page celebrates through the exhaustion. There's confetti and pyro and all the pageantry and hoopla as the Owen Hart Trophy is presented. Graphic confirms that it'll be Page versus Moxley for the AEW World Title at All In Texas. Paige returns to the ring to offer a handshake to Ospreay, which is accepted. The show ends with Paige standing tall, trophy in hand, and the crowd showing massive respect, and me actually having to watch it the next day because the shit was so long that I went to bed and had to finish watching the final 2 hours of it the following day. What did you think of this match, TJ?
I mean, it was the in-ring was great. There was never a question of that, and I'm
100%.
I'm sure nobody went into this thinking that it wasn't going to be. A little bit fast at some points, but overall, really solid match, and it just kind of stinks that they're not jumping on Ospreay here. He's definitely probably the most over guy in the company, or he was, and he has the most upside compared to anybody still. And even though they've thrown him and beat him, he still, is looking solid and everything. It just, what you're getting with Adam Page, man. You've seen that. It wasn't good the first time. I'm not expecting much out of it again when it happens. Hopefully it doesn't. But, he's probably going to end up beating Moxley, and you're just going to have this other mediocre run compared to the one that he had the first time. And he's not genuine. His in-ring's good, but everybody's is. And overall, it's just not a lot to look forward to. And I just can't believe that they're fucking passing Ospreay up again, man. They have a chance to, turn shit around with that guy if you have the right programs. But hopefully, maybe they're going to go that direction sooner than later, either way. And pretty much all I got to say about that. It was a decent show, man. It's just it was better than it was better than the last one that they had. I'll give them that.
Dynasty,
Dynasty was fucking terrible. But this was if I had to give it a fucking number, I'd say 6 out of 10, something like that. It was decent.
Yeah, like a C.
Yeah, they got to trim the fat, man, as there's a lot of it.
Yep.
So we can go ahead and sign off on that one there, and then we're gonna open the next page here, which would be WWE Raw on 5/26/25, which had an attendance of 97.26, and their current setup was for 97.62. They sold it out. It says they had 36 tickets left. I'm sure that there wasn't any. So their Raw sold more than their AEW's pay-per-view did. It was close. The Yuengling Center, Tampa, Florida. This is the 32nd Raw to emanate from Tampa, Florida. I think they said a lot of them were during the pandemic era. That's so that's why that's so high. But kind of a weird Raw, man. And we'll get into that more later. But I feel like some momentum may be slipping a little bit for them on this show. So the New Dangerous Alliance kicks off the show. That's not the actual name. They don't have one yet. And it's live from the Yuengling Center. The same setup as Saturday night's main event. In the ring, we got Seth, Braun, and Bronson Reed. It's kind of a shame that their names are so similar. And we got Paul Heyman in there.
Yeah, they need to figure that out.
Yeah, they got Paul Heyman in there too. The crowd sings Rollins' name, then barks for Breaker. Heyman introduces the group to heavy hypes. And heavily hyped Braun Breaker as the future WWE. Says if Skynet sent a Terminator from the future, it would say Breaker main events WrestleMania 45 and 50. Says it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Crowd chants CM Punk. Heyman taunts him, reminding them that Punk isn't here because of Bronson Reed. So right then you're like, oh, Punk's going to be there.
Yep.
Calls Reed too violent for WWE PG's era. Says he did more to Rollins in one night than Reigns and Punk combined. Says Reed is feared, dangerous, and a game changer. Heyman praises Rollins as a selfless leader and tells the crowd to acknowledge him. Rollins takes a mic amid a "We Want Roman" chant, declares his group and the future and vision of the industry. Crowd chants, "You sold out," and "Fuck you" to Rollins. Rollins says that the fans don't know what's good for them, claims he's the only one fit to lead WWE forward. He also says that he should still be world champion if it wasn't for Sami Zayn and Punk. Rollins says that Punk underestimates them and paid the price. Zayn will learn the same lesson tonight. Declares he'll qualify for Money in the Bank, win it, and cash in whenever on whoever he wants. Calls this total domination and complete power. And he ends it with, "I'm a visionary, revolutionary." He's Seth freaking Rollins. It was a good promo. I liked it. The Paul stuff with the Skynet was good. You all right?
Yeah. What was their noise?
I was like, But
oh no, I was pulling the mic. That wasn't me actually making noise.
It's okay. But anyways, This was good. I know you're going to say the same thing. This is what you've come to expect with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins in this group. It's the people that are going to talk well.
Yeah, they're further in the story of the group. They still don't have a name for it. The third guy's finally been revealed, so now the real stuff's going to start to happen.
Yeah, we kept wondering who it was. That wasn't a guess.
Yep. Had no idea. He was injured a while and had been scheduled to come back at some point, but yeah, we didn't. There were no reports on that or anything like that. So they got everybody.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Good job for that. We don't normally get swerved very much in the modern era or not know. They're always telling us, oh well, Bianca Belair's coming back on SmackDown. It's like, well, don't tell everybody. Just let her surprise everybody so that they get more of a pop. Instead of everybody being like, oh, she's coming back. Yeah, whatever. It's stupid, that sort of thing. But anyway, good segment. Moving on. We got a Money in the Bank qualifying match. It's a triple threat, and normally we haven't been a fan of triple threats, but these triple threats the last few weeks have been solid, and I think there's 3 triple threats on the show tonight. So we're gonna get into them. We got a Penta versus Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee. This was a high impact match, and we got I forgot to edit the referee out of this. Old Eddie Oregano's back.
Well, you should leave him in every time.
Yeah, you're gonna stay in, Eddie. And El Hijo del Vikingo. I don't know how to say this fucking guy's name.
Vikingo.
What?
Vikingo.
Vikingo. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we've seen this guy before on AEW.
Yeah,
he's a good wrestler. He's at ringside and set to face Chad Gable at the Worlds Collide PLE that's coming up, I think, next month. Yeah, not too long from now, like 10 days, something like that. 9 days. Anyway, the bell rings. Lee and Penta double super kick Gable and attack him in the corner. Lee and Penta agree to team up and send Gable over the top. Penta rolls up Lee for 2. They trade momentum. Lee hits a Hurricane Rana and a slingshot corner drop kick on Penta. Gable re-enters. Exploder suplex on Lee. German on Penta. Lee goes for the slingshot, but Gable counters in a Northern Light suplex. Gable dumps Lee, eats a kick from Penta, who hits a reverse sling blade. Penta super kicks Lee and gives Gable a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Penta locks Lee in a gory special, grabs Gable in a piledriver position, and hits a double facebuster. Tope from Penta wipes out both opponents. Gable looks shaken. The ref checks on him. We go to a commercial break. This is an action-packed match so far. The text and me reading it doesn't do it justice. You guys should watch this match if you hadn't. Back from the break, Penta super kicks Lee. Gable bounces Penta off the commentary table. Gable gets in Vikingo's face. Vikingo fires back verbally. Lee hits a massive suicide dive on Penta over the commentary table. This was an insane spot. He came flying out of nowhere from inside the ring and all the way to the commentary table and across it. I mean, this shit, he was flying. Gable attacks Vikingo and throws Penta back in. Intense strike exchange. Gable and Penta and Lee all land super kicks and knees. Lee nails a Poison Rana, then a sit-out powerbomb on Gable for a near fall. Surprised that they let people do that move. That's a dangerous move, the Hurricane Rana when the guy's facing the other way. But these guys execute these moves very well. So anyway, Lee gets thrown into the turnbuckles with an overhead belly-to-belly. Gable climbs to the top rope. Vikingo snap kicks him into the tree of woe. Lee double stomps Gable from the top rope. Penta immediately hits a Mexican destroyer on Lee. Penta nails Gable with a Penta driver, gets the pin, and Penta wins. He qualifies for the men's Money in the Bank, joining Solo and LA Knight. And they build the match with Vikingo and Gable a little bit more for AAA. What did you think of this match, TJ? I thought it was pretty good action. It was crazy, a lot of this shit.
I mean, it was all right. What was it, Dragon Lee? I mean, that's just some guy to me. Penta and Chad though are good. It was a good match, but
he was just some guy to me until this match.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
But I don't know. Like, it was good. it kind of shows you more of like the crowd was terrible tonight, man. They weren't into shit. You know, they just kind of
Yeah,
sat there.
Tampa didn't show out very well. It was a disappointing, I had hoped that my hometown would have repped a little better, but it is what it is.
Well, we can go ahead and move on. I thought it was all right. Definitely a decent match, but like I said, it really helps when the crowd, they definitely enhance it when they're into it. But
Right.
moving on here, it's the Judgment Day Clubhouse. Finn Balor says he's focused on getting back to business. Dominic Mysterio is playing video games with Carlito. Roxanne Perez enters with a tray of chicken nuggets for Mysterio. She says Dom's shoulder looks a little tight and starts to rub it. Liv Morgan enters the room after that. Say
Konnichiwa,
yeah.
bitches.
I think that's wrong because is that when you say hey, or no, it's sayonara, is it bye. So she was saying hey.
I don't know. That's what she said.
And, she was just filming in Japan.
Yeah.
Clearly irritated by what she sees, Balor watches the drama unfold with a smile. And she was kind of calling him out. Yeah. Raquel Rodriguez was snitching on him. Morgan says Raquel has been keeping her updated on the clubhouse situation and she doesn't like it. Says she'll deal with that later. Heads to Adam Pearce to request a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Raquel Rodriguez laughs at Mysterio. Carlito warns Dominic, don't eat Perez's nuggies. The segment ends with a more awkward tension and Balor's still amused. Yeah, he's definitely smiling a lot. These little segments are okay. At least every time something happens, they're actually able to tease tension and stuff. They've been teasing tension with fucking Finn Balor for months.
Yep. Long-term storytelling. Imagine that.
Yeah. I can get this one too if you'd like, since that was so short. Not really much to say about that. It was just usual what you'd expect from the clubhouse. Nothing bad. It was decent.
Yep.
But
nice to see that they're using Roxanne in something prominent. So cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But we got Tozawa here with Maxine Dupree. She's bigger than he is. Against Rusev. We got the referee here, Jessica Carr. It's not Eddie Oregano. So I don't really know what to say about that. But Tozawa charges Rusev after ripping off his shirt. Rusev shoves him off, but misses a charge. Tozawa sidesteps and hits a missile drop kick. That's all he gets on him in the match. Tozawa hits the ropes, but Rusev crushes him with a crow's line. That's a cool one. Rusev follows with a super kick and signals for the end. He stomps Tozawa's back and then, locks in the accolade. So he submitted him with the accolade, didn't want to let go. Pulled him back, got him in the ground. And then Rusev refused to release. And then Jessica Carr couldn't break it off, like I just said. And then Sheamus runs down to the ring. And Rusev finally lets go, stares Sheamus down. And then after a long stare down, Rusev walks off, leaving tension unresolved. And I know how Rusev is. He's going to wait for Sheamus to have a match and then beat his ass after the match. That's how he's always done it. He's like a cold, calculating guy. Like, he a lot of time backs off and then will fuck with you later. But
takes the spots.
I guess they're trying to get sympathy on fucking Rusev for beating up Tozawa, but I don't think anybody cares. And people probably are going to look forward to the Sheamus and Rusev match. It's something we've seen a million times back in the day, but it'll be hard hitting, probably decent. So nothing bad.
They'll be laying it in.
Yeah. You want to take us into the highlight of the night?
Well, man, I debated even putting these notes in here because backstage interview with Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. Kathy Kelly interviews comedians Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura backstage. Kelly brings up Segura's past criticisms of WWE. That's right. I don't know if you people out there remember or not. He was shitting all over it there pretty hard. And he admits that he said dumb things, but praises Cody Rhodes for being a great podcast guest and expanding his view on what WWE is and can be. Kreischer said that he had an amazing time at a previous WWE event. They take a moment to plug their Netflix bullshit. Kreischer suddenly runs off shouting for Segura. Segura finds Kreischer shirtless, hanging out with the War Raiders. They chop Kreischer's chest and walk away. And Kreischer winces and admits my chest hurts, and he's got a pretty good red spot on it. And I could have done without this. I realized that they got to do whatever promotion and cross promotion stuff, but man, I don't know.
His whole
I
upper
mean,
body was red, man. He's a red guy, but this goes to show you that this was a part of the deal. That WWE told Netflix, hey, we can advertise your stuff in a live event setting like no other company could offer, which is true. I mean, think about it. In the middle of a football game, if they were doing NFL, are they going to have a whole segment with actors set up playing an ad that's live? You know, for whatever the fuck Netflix wants.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, this is something only they can fucking offer, and you know that was part of the deal. I wonder if that's some kind of equity sharing advertising thing or what, but
Probably.
But either way, just more that actually was offensive, and it'd be cool if they didn't show this shit. But I mean, what are you gonna do? There was a lot of ads throughout this whole show. I was gonna bring that up at one point. Like, I actually did a little like quick watch the show, fast forward through afterwards again, just to refresh myself of everything that happened. And it was like ad after ad after ad after ad after ad. It was a lot.
Too fucking much.
But after that,
and then we got another backstage segment. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it was Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Sami vents his frustrations for not confronting Seth during the opening segment. World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso talks him down, says going out there would have meant a 3-on-1 beatdown, tells Zayn that they need to pick their shots. Uso tells Zayn to stay focused. Tonight's about qualifying for Money in the Bank. Promises to have his back if they try anything. They slap hands and then Uso walks off. Just to give him, you got these segments every week between these two, and they're good. You know, it's nice. You don't, not to say that it's bad that AEW does or doesn't do this, but that's at least one thing that you got back in the WWE era, the Attitude Era a lot, was these backstage segments with the guys that you cared about talking. They wouldn't last long. They furthered the storyline going on in the show, and it kind of like kept you like, oh, okay, I can expect these guys that I care about to be in the show instead of just one segment. So I don't mind this at all, and I like Sami and Jay, so can't shit on that at all. Right?
Yeah.
We got this World Tag match here next.
Another triple threat. Remember I was saying this is like the night of triple threats. This is a triple threat too.
Yeah. It was all right. Nothing too crazy.
Well enough. I don't know. Is this one you or me? I can't remember.
I can take this one. So it was a New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed, and the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar. We still don't have oregano here. Before the bell, a brawl breaks out between all three teams. War Raiders clear the ring. Eric scoop slams Ivar off the apron onto the pile of competitors. That was all right. The match officially starts. Julius Creed drops Ivar off the turnbuckles. The New Day and Creed team up and beat down the War Raiders at ringside. All four drive Eric into the steel steps and pose in the ring. We come back from a commercial. Kingston controls Eric, tags in Woods. Woods hits a double stomp to Eric's neck, then struts and slaps his head. Little double J thing, right? Eric retaliates with a stiff forearm, tags in Ivar. Ivar back body drops Julius, boots Woods, slams Brutus, and then throws Kingston onto him. We get a basement crossbody that wipes out Kingston and Brutus. Julius avoids an avalanche, but Ivar lands a seated senton. Ivar clears out the ring with clotheslines and backdrops. Kingston stuns Ivar with a kick. Eric knocks Kingston out. Brutus attacks Eric on the top rope. Julius hits a top rope superplex on Eric. Woods follows with a limit break elbow. Ivar crashes down with a top rope splash, but everyone breaks the pin. Crowd chants, "This is Dawson." As all 6 men are down, Eric ducks Trouble in Paradise. Creed hits a double shoulder tackle. Ivar hits a handspring back elbow, a nasty spin kick to Woods, and the War Raiders go for a War Machine, but Julius blind tags in. Creed and Brutus team up to clear Ivar. Brutus hits a springboard Brutus ball onto Eric outside. Kingston tries to dive on Ivar. Ivar catches him and smashes him to the LED apron. LED lights short circuit after Ivar's splash. Ivar heads up to the top rope. Julius cuts him off with the knee. Ivar Wood sneaks in, rolls up Julius, and holds it tight for the pin. So Xavier Woods stole the pin there with the tight grab. I really wasn't crazy about this match, man. I don't think the people in the building were, and I don't know. Just the War Raiders, just I don't know. They're not. I don't think they're clicking with anybody. What's the other one too? The Creed brothers. I'm not really sure they are, and they can go too. I've seen the Creed brothers have great matches. I don't think this is one of them. This is a little bit below average, I think, compared to what you would expect from all these guys. And I really like the New Day. They're always really entertaining, but something about this match didn't click, and just really sucks seeing War Raiders out there so much when there's so many more talented wrestlers out there that could be in that position instead of two blown up guys who, I don't know, not feeling it.
The Raw tag team division needs a lot of help. SmackDown's tag team division is in a way better spot, and I'm not necessarily crazy about what's going on over there either. The match itself wasn't terrible. I could do without 2 out of the 3 teams in the match, so it just is what it is. Then we get a backstage segment after that with Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. And women's tag team champions Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are walking backstage. They run into the women's world champion Io Sky and Kairi Sane. Morgan mocks the Kabuki Warriors, saying that their team is better than Sane's chances at Money in the Bank. Morgan vows that if she wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, she'll cash in on Io Sky, something Sane could never do. Kairi Sane challenges Liv to a match tonight. Liv accepts without hesitation, and Raquel chuckles and tells Sane that you messed up. And so they're gonna have a match tonight. They built the story a little further, and they referenced when Io Sky and Kairi Sane used to be teamed up back in the Damage Control days. For people that were watching back then. And, got any kind of input on that there segment, TJ?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird having like 2 Japanese chicks that can barely speak English, and it was serviceable enough for what they did. And Liv always pretty good at emoting, so this wasn't bad. Just a little backstage segment here, and what are we gonna say about it? It happened. It was all right.
Yep.
We can go ahead and move on. The World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso, he comes out and addresses the crowd. Yep. And when did he come out? I'm not sure. Oh man, and it was just him, right?
Yeah, there was no one else with him.
Okay, well, I mean, usually you got something for me there too.
Oh, I don't know.
But it's just me, Uso. But Jey Uso makes his way to the ring and greets the Tampa crowd. Says it's been a busy week. Logan Paul got yeeted and John Cena's next. Hyping up Money in the Bank tag match. Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Cena and Logan Paul. That's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like Cody comes back and he's all pissed at Cena. And he's like, I really want to get my title back, but you know what? A tag team match. But Gunther interrupts, walking down to loud boos and a "you tapped out" chant. Gunther reminds everyone that he faces Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw after Money in the Bank. Offers 2 congratulations for 15 years for the Usos in WWE and for Uso's first successful title defense against Logan Paul. Says that Uso was holding the title longer than expected. Praises Uso's loyalty and heart, what calls them weaknesses for a champion. He says that says being there for friends is admirable, but it makes you a terrible champion. Gunther, unlike me, this doesn't come naturally to you. Claims that Uso lacks the intellect to carry himself as champion. Promises to choke out Uso and take the title back in 2 weeks. Uso removes his sunglasses and responds. He's tired of people saying that his days are numbered. Says that the title isn't an excuse to abandon your people. Fights for those who fought for him. Says Gunther can judge him all he wants, but Uso's not overlooking him. Promises to make Gunther tap out again in Phoenix. Ends with 4 words, 1 letter. Yep, there you go. And then yeet. Uso walks off defiantly. So, he's getting more confidence as being champion and everything. But I like this. Every promo between these guys has been good. And I think they have chemistry in the ring together too. They always have good matches. So, just a little bit more build to their match, and I'm looking forward to it a little bit. Maybe it'll be more when it comes closer, but it's something we've seen a lot of. And overall, this wasn't bad, right, Dave?
No, this is a good build, and this will be one of those matches that we look forward to or look back on. I'm sorry, feuds that we look back on in the future, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, Jey Uso and Gunther. That was a good match in their time, or a good feud in their time. However long that they had, they could realistically be wrestling for another 5 to 10 years easily. So probably get a lot more matches in there.
Yeah,
few more feuds. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then up next, we get Liv Morgan with Raquel Rodriguez versus Kairi Sane. And we get a lock up to the start. Morgan powers Sane into the ropes. Morgan gets aggressive early with a hair pull, face kick, and stomps, yelling at the referee. Cable's doing something weird here. Sane fights back and with chops and sends Morgan corner to corner. Sane tries a top rope move, but rolls through and hits a head scissor takeover. Sliding forearm sends Morgan to the apron. Sane goes for a boot into the ring post. Morgan dodges and hits a sunset flip powerbomb to the floor. We go to a commercial break, and then we come back. Morgan hits a two amigos, and Sane counters the third. Sane lands a spear, then hammer throws and a crossbody. Running blockbuster and sliding forearm in the corner. It was a nice little segment of moves there that she was doing. She could wrestle. And then we get a top rope diving forearm for a 2 count. Sane locks in leg submission and transitions into corner offense. Morgan boots Sane and hits a diving code breaker for a near fall. It was pretty nice. The Oblivion attempt is blocked. Sane hits a backhand and a running forearm for a 2 count. Sane sets up for the Alabama slam. Morgan counters into a roll up for 2. Morgan lands a backstabber, and another Alabama slam setup leads to a clumsy exchange and a weak slam. It didn't look great. Sane climbs in for the insane elbow. Roxanne Perez runs down and knocks her off. Perez and Rodriguez argue at ringside and kind of distract Liv a little bit. She goes for the Oblivion again, and Sane counters with a roll-up for the win. She gets her first win in a really long time. And, yeah. There was a little bit of a follow-up segment to that we'll go into, and then we'll talk about it as a whole. So then there's some follow-up back in the Judgment Day clubhouse. Liv Morgan is furious and throwing things. There's no audio at first, and then when it kicks in, Dom says he didn't see the match. Morgan snaps at Raquel Rodriguez, blaming her for being the veteran for letting it happen. Morgan storms out with Dom chasing her. Finn Balor watches the chaos unfold with a huge grin, clearly enjoying the tension. His emotes in this are great. This was a well enough match. I like both of these gals that were in the match. It was nice to see Kairi Sane get a win. She hasn't had one in a while. What did you think of all this?
It was just okay.
Yeah.
Average match. Segment afterwards, following up with the stuff that they've been building for a while that they went over earlier with the first clubhouse segment. So I like that, but overall the match is just fucking average. Two chicks kind of having a little fucking 8-minute match, if that. About all I got to say about it. We can go ahead and move on to the segment with Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, which I've been enjoying all their little encounters. They've actually been pretty good. Sami Zayn's walking backstage when Karrion Kross stops him. Kross got a notable ovation from the crowd. Scarlett's seated nearby on like a crate watching quietly. In the background, the New Day is walking and chatting with Grayson Waller. Kross taunts Zayn, says he's still clawing for the top. Mocks him for turning down a title shot on SmackDown. Remember when Seth Rollins ended up offering him to go to SmackDown and all that instead of having a match and everything. Zayn brushes him off, saying he doesn't have time for this. Kross yells after Zayn walks away, saying, "You'll never win the title." And Zayn stops, turns around, and responds, "I'll deal with you later." Tension hangs in the air as Zayn walks away. So I guess that's going to be the next direction he goes after this for like his single stuff. But yeah, it was a good segment. Really not much to say, right, Dave? Just
Nope.
more story furthering. It was good. Everybody delivered their
Yep.
stuff too. So,
Like all those guys.
yep. Um, so here we got a Money in the Bank qualifying match. It is a triple threat match with Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and Finn Balor, and Sami Zayn. Bell rang. Zayn charges Rollins and clotheslines him out of the ring. He hits a suicide dive on Rollins, and they brawl on the outside. Balor jumps in, taking Zayn into the ring and attacking him in the corner. And then Rollins returns, but Balor DDTs him while hitting a reverse DDT on Zayn. Balor covers both men for near falls, and we come back from a commercial break, and Balor's pushing Zayn, and the crowd chants, "We want tables." Zayn hits a textbook superplex, fends off Rollins, delivers 20 punches in the corner. Yeah, they counted to 10. Then after 10, he just started doing like both sides, like both fists. But Zayn hits a springboard moonsault block to the floor on both opponents. Zayn raises a finger to honor Sabu. Zayn rolls Rollins in for a blue thunder bomb. Rollins escapes and hits a Falcon Arrow. Rollins sets up a superplex but gets a sunset flip power bomb by Zayn with a near fall. Balor breaks it up, tries to take over but gets kicked. Rollins attempts a pedigree. Balor hits a sling blade on him. Woo drop kick on Zayn. Balor climbs. Zayn crotches him. Rollins hits a frog splash on Zayn. Rollins tries to form an alliance with Balor, and they double team Zayn. Zayn fights off a double superplex, throws Rollins out. Balor gets a roll up for 2, then a sling blade on Zayn. Rollins breaks the pin, hits a pedigree on Balor. Zayn breaks up the pin. Rollins hits a pedigree on Zayn, another 2 count. Zayn hits a stomp, hits a blue thunder bomb, another near fall. Strikes exchange with Rollins. Zayn hits an exploder into the turnbuckle, sets up a haluva kick, hits Balor. But Balor hits a sling blade. Woo drop kick sends Zayn into Rollins. Balor goes for a coup de grace. Zayn moves. Rollins hits a stomp on Balor. Zayn hits Rollins with a haluva kick. Braun Breaker pulls Zayn out of the ring. Bronson Reed attacks Zayn. Jey Uso runs in. Super kicks for Breaker and Reed. Then Rollins tries to attack, but Uso punches him out. Breaker spears Uso. Reed avalanches Zayn into the post. Dominic Mysterio slides a chair into the ring for Balor. Rollins stomps Balor onto the chair and covers. So Rollins ended up pinning Balor there after Dom tried to slide in the chair, and as Balor tried to pick it up, Rollins went over and stomped him into it.
He kind of slid it away from Balor, like it was more like in the middle of the ring. Yeah. Instead of sliding it close to him. Yeah, I think that was like on purpose for storytelling reasons.
But after that, CM Punk's music hits to a thunderous ovation. Breaker, Reed, and Heyman run up to the ramp to block him. Punk sneaks through the crowd, hits a GTS on Rollins, and escapes. Heyman and crew are stunned as Raw ends at 10:25 p.m. EST. It was a pretty decent match. Nothing too crazy. Just they had a solid little match, and then once they got to the end, it hit to the goofy interference and the kind of finish that you would expect here. And I'm not gonna shit on it. It was all right. Nothing too crazy, but yeah. What you think?
Decent enough match. Better than average. I'm not crazy about triple threat matches, but it allows for all of the tomfoolery that happened at the end to happen, and there still be a finish. And yeah, Rollins was always going to win this match, so they at least got creative with how they got us here. And
we all knew Balor was taking that pin.
Yeah. And it was what it was. Raw, so right? That was Raw. It was a average episode. I don't know. They're not.
All right, so we got that
sometimes
news.
Sometimes they're better than others. Yep. Let's get on into it.
Sorry to cut you off there. Some are definitely better than others. And this was probably middle of the pack, and I think the crowd really let this show down.
Yeah, come on, Tampa. Quit embarrassing us.
I guess they're burnt out from all the pandemic era shows that they had. But take us into that news that we were just talking about a second ago. Something that we talked about the other day, right?
Yeah, we got an update on some news from the other day. Tony Khan provides an update on Scorpio Sky's AEW status. So following Double or Nothing, the AEW president Tony Khan addressed Scorpio Sky's absence and recent podcast comments during the post-media scrum. Khan expressed his respect and long-term appreciation for Sky, stating that, "I like Scorpio Sky. It's interesting. Scorpio Sky's name came up recently, and he mentioned he was looking to come back. And I have had talks with Scorpio Sky about different ideas and things we could do. He's someone who has been here from day one, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's someone I really like. So he really likes Scorpio Sky enough to not have him work for 2 years. But anyway, he confirmed a creative plan had been discussed, but ultimately wasn't pursued. I had talked to Scorpio Sky about doing something, and we ended up going with something in a different direction. Didn't work out for reasons between us, but it's a legit thing, and I'm fine with it. Despite this, Khan made it clear that Sky is still on the AEW roster and in his future plans. I do like Scorpio Sky, and he's part of the roster. I would like to use him for a different idea when the time is right. Huh.
Well, when's the time going to be right? And when?
Yeah, I mean,
how's he different than like Jungle Boy that they're not doing anything with? I guess the time will be right there eventually.
There are so many shittier people that he uses every week that he could be using him instead. I liked when he was in SCU. I really liked when he was doing Men of the Year with Ethan Page. I don't know. There's no reason I can think of that the guy should be off TV. What did you think of all of this?
Well, they just probably don't have plans for him. They have too many people hired, and Tony just probably forgot about him. It's just like, oh, fuck it, we'll just keep paying him. It's not a big deal. He won't care. But I know these guys do like to work. It's he's running towards the end of that career there, and the past 2-3 years have been pretty rough. I remember the SCU stuff at the beginning when what is it? Was it Chris? Or was it Kazarian that got hurt, or who ended up getting hurt?
I can't remember.
But he ended up
him or Chris.
Yeah, and ended up teaming with one of the other guys, and then he was one half. I think they were the first tag team champs, right, in AEW.
I do believe so.
But beyond that, definitely somebody that you'd use as a hand, and I don't know, that Collision was like just filled with so many like random guys last week that I just like, you can't put Anthony Bowens and Scorpio Sky in a program together. It's something random like that, but.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I'm not buying anything that he says when it comes to that. He just forgets about guys, and that's literally all it is. And he figures just paying them will be fine, and that they won't say anything. But he said something.
Reminds me of my 6-year-old nephew. He's playing with his toy, and then some other toy catches his interest, and he sets that one down, and he's just playing with the new toy, and before you know it, he forgot about the other one, or he's like, "Hey, where is that?"
Yeah, and I guess he can't even have him on ROH. It's
nope.
They still have what's her name? What
Athena?
No, that the second women's, or maybe it was even I don't know. I can't remember who the first women's champion was in AEW, but there's like that.
Britt Baker?
No, it was kind of like the guy or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they still got that person in ROH doing their thing. So it's weird that Scorpio Sky isn't doing Nyla Rose. That's it. Not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but that's
Nia Jax, Nyla Rose, whatever.
Yeah, that's what's going on there. But anyways, you want to lead us into the next topic we got here?
Yep. So we got AEW versus WWE. The counter programming is heating up again. We just had AEW Double or Nothing and NXT Battleground running head to head on Sunday, May 26th. I actually watched both shows at the same time. I know TJ didn't watch Battleground, and I'll use this opportunity to get in a little bit of talking about it. I thought it was a pretty good show. It was nice and short. By the time that it was over, I was wishing AEW was going to be over too. Most of the matches were good. All of the title matches were good. So I think it was like 4 out of 6 matches were solid on that. So if you got time, get that in. But anyway, back to the news. AEW and WWE are now going to be running on July 12th, 2025. AEW is going to have All In at 3 o'clock, and WWE is running the NXT Great American Bash at the same time as All In, and then Saturday night's main event that evening at the same venue as the NXT show earlier in the day. And this same day scheduling continues a trend of competitive booking. Tony Khan was asked about it during the press conference. We got a lot of news coming out of the press conference. He was asked by Mark Hoke, So shout out to Mark for getting his question in about the increasing counter programming from WWE, and Tony's response was, "It's pretty consistent. I'd say it's the most consistent event head-to-head scheduling I've seen since Jim Crockett Promotions saw a lot of scheduling that went that way. I can tell you this will go a lot differently than that did." And that was just him referencing WWE running aggressive counter scheduling against Crockett back in the 80s and then causing them to eventually fold and get sold to WCW. So do you think that this is a deliberate thing that WWE is doing or a coincidence?
I mean, it's
I gotta
definitely
think that it's
deliberate.
deliberate.
They used to do stuff like this back in the day, and like I say all the time, Vince taught all these guys, everything they know about the business. So and I'm sure Nick Khan's like, fuck these guys. They always run their mouths about them. So it's not even just about that. It's just business. This is WWE. This is what they've done, and it's nothing new, and you can keep expecting it to happen. And I'm not sure what Tony's talking about there. It will go a lot more different. I mean, mainly because he has more money, but if he's insinuating that they're going to beat the WWE and money and viewership made, that will never happen. But, maybe they'll carve their own little niche in there like they've been doing, and maybe they'll be profitable or something like that. But beyond that, they're not really going to be beating anybody. But, they should be super. I don't even mean this in a bad way. Props on Tony for everything he's done for the wrestling business, but they sure talk about WWE a lot on their show and other guys on Twitter. If I was him, I'd just tell everybody to shut up. How can you be the fighting underdog if you just run your mouth all the time?
Good point.
All right, so I'll take us on to the next one there, but we'll have some more updates on that in the future, because I'm sure that won't be the last time that happens. We got go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay, so we got this Chelsea Green injury update. So WWE superstar Chelsea Green sustained a legitimate broken nose during her WWE Women's United States Championship match against Zelina Vega on a botched 619 at a Saturday night's main event on May 24th, 2025. The injury
it looked like shit, too. Yeah. That 619 was probably the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, the injury has been confirmed by Fightful Select. According to old Dave Meltzer in the Daily Update, Green is not expected to be off TV at all. The injury is considered a clean break. That means she's probably going to be off TV for a while.
Oh, shit. Yeah, half the time he's wrong.
It's more than that. Fucking nobody told him that. He's just completely fucking guessing. Green showed toughness by working through the match with an injury and is expected to continue appearing on TV while recovering. So hopefully she does. They'll just have her on one of those masks or whatever. But what you think about that? Got anything to add?
Well, it's good that she's going to be okay. You hate to see anybody sustain an injury. It sucks that we found out that she actually has a broken nose, and speedy recovery to Chelsea. And yeah, that's it. Why don't you get us on out of here for the day and tell everybody when we'll see him next and what's going on.
All right, so we're going to be doing the day after Dynamite, like always. So we'll have a recording that we're going to do on Thursday, and we should have it out that night. That's at least as everything goes to plan. Who knows? Maybe the world could end before then, but that is the plan, right? So check out our social medias. It's the same shit we say every time at OverMark ENT, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So with that being said, we really appreciate you guys listening. Got all our Overmaniacs out there. We'll see you next time, and we hope you guys have a good night. It's fun like always, Dave.
Yeah, it was nice talking with you, TJ. Hopefully we have a fun next episode.
Oh, I'm sure we will. Good night, guys.
Everybody have a good night.